All right, folks, it's Friday. It's May 22nd. It's about a half hour past bean time. Trust me, I know that. I can feel it. Okay, the brunt of the field is done. In fact, I'm on my last run. I could not afford to bring you with me in what I'm going to call the main part of the field. I'm just not that coordinated. I had constantly had to feather the hydraulics because of the collection of corn fodder trash and stones and whatever. I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. I'll freely admit to you, I lost a little sleep last night, kind of worrying about the disastrous cultimulching that was going to go on in this field. Don't get me wrong, I was, boy, I had to play with this thing quite a bit. But ultimately, son of a gun. Sorry, folks. Ultimately, it turned out pretty good. Better than what I thought. So what I'm doing now is the field is over and I'm taking my 3 rounds around the field to obviously get what hadn't been cultimulched and also to break up the compaction from obviously turning around here at the headlands. As you can see, this is one of those rows of corn fodder. You'll see multiple of them. And what a big mistake that was. It's okay, it's the end of the day, it's going to be all right, but that will never, ever, ever happen again. That was just awful. Cultimulcher continues to do a fabulous job of putting down a firm seed bed. And we're going to talk about that here in just a minute. We're going to get out of this tractor and take a look at the field because I have to. I got to get out of this seat. I probably started this easily about 9:30 this morning. So this was a 3-hour job, and did a good job at that. So, I'm very, very, very happy and fortunate to say that I have a rock picking crew all lined up for 5:30 this evening. And I'm very surprised in the rocks as well. Don't get me wrong, they're out there, folks. I'm betting roughly 50% of what I thought there was going to be. And I will freely admit I'm always looking at the worst and hoping for the best. So we got ourselves a perfect little world going on here. This was a very heavy littered area of corn stalks as well here, and this was an absolute bear, but we got it pretty good. So let's take a little break here. Let's do a little talking. We're gonna get out of this tractor. I got to get out of here. Oh, good. Let's make sure you're on. Yeah, we're recording. Yeah, this big beast, this heavy beast has no mercy at all. But I will tell you this much. And there's 3 settings on here: shallow, medium, and deep. I go at the medium because that's all I really need. I will tell you though, if you're running these, or you're about to, if you do have to lift it up a little bit to let trash float underneath that's being collected by the tines, don't go jamming up on your hydraulics. There's no need for that. Just feather it ever so lightly while it's letting that trash out at the same time it's continuing to compact and rough up your soil. The other biggest reason is if you just jam up on the hydraulics, lift it up to get everything out of there, you're going to create a very large hump, which you don't want. Oh, if only those were worth the nickel a piece. Holy crap. Very satisfied with this seed bed, how it turned out. As soon as this vehicle goes by, we're going to talk about that. Otherwise, I'm going to look like I'm a crazy person here. We will be experiencing some let's just call them no growth rows. Take this for example. That's about that's a little better than a foot wide, or a few rows of sorghum would go in. It's not going to grow on stuff like that. And as I stated before, there's probably about 12, 13, 14 of those awful rows of corn fodder that were left. I did my best, but we are going to experience some blotches in planting where there will be no plant growth. Okay, real quick here. I feel this is important for anybody wanting to tackle this year or next year. I've stated 100 times, this is not a YouTube channel for education. I don't have the answers. I have enough answers to get myself in trouble. This channel is for me and my enjoyment, and hoping that it can actually make a little bit of a difference for somebody. Maybe somebody can pick something up on this channel. There's one thing that I will say that I stand by firmly. The proof is in the pudding. The last 2 years, sorghum loves a compacted, firm seed bed. There's no escaping that fact. Now, I will tell you this. Yeah, I wish these stones were worth a nickel a piece. I'd be retired next year. Yeah. Wind's picking up. It's getting tractor here. So yeah, from what I found out, a very firm, compacted seed bed for sorghum. Just look back on the last couple years of videos with sorghum and how that crop turned out. I'd have to say pretty damn fantastic. The other reason I say that, and how do I explain this? Here's the deal. I'm not one to compare anything that I have or that I'm doing with somebody else's. That's for idiots. That's people that compare have a complex, and that's something that I do not have. I will say this though. Last year, because of good old Mother Nature that played a lot of jokes on us, there was a lot of sorghum that went in the ground here, up here, which is not common. Sorghum is not common up here, folks. A lot of it went in the ground last year, and I'm here to tell you, there was some pretty sickly fields of sorghum out there. That I know that's rude, but it's a fact. Period. End of story. And I know damn well that those fields were basically roughed up for, let's just say roughed up for like a corn planting or something. And the fields of sorghum were horrendous, awful. So that's one thing I'm going to stand by here, and that is a very firm, tight, I'm going to say somewhat mildly heavily packed seed bed, and the sorghum just flourishes in it. That's been my experience, and I'm going to continue it. That, and obviously a good fertilizer program, a fair one. You don't need to throw the kitchen sink at it, but for God's sakes, you got to throw the nutrients to it. And a little help from Mother Nature. But yeah, I'm literally 30 seconds from being done, and it's time to regroup. I got some odd jobs and some errands that I got to run, and then I'm going to start getting out the drill, blah, 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 and start getting ready for tomorrow. For planting, which of course is going to take quite a long time here. You know, that's a 10-foot drill. It takes a while, but that's all right. Who cares about that? Yeah, spend the rest of the day kind of getting ready for tomorrow, and then of course getting the bucket on the 6420 hooked up to a wagon and being prepared to pick stones tonight, which I can promise you is 50% of what I thought it was going to be, but it's still, nonetheless, it's still going to be about a good 3-hour job. But yeah, I'm happy. I was nervous, but turned out okay. So happy Friday, everybody. I hope everything's going okay, going your way. Everything else, stay tuned. We're going to do a video on something here this evening, maybe on picking rocks. Or maybe fixing some fence line up on the North Hill, which I got to do late tonight. I need to run that fence because the cows are going out there tomorrow morning, and the cattle are ready. They're just bellering for that green grass. I'm surprised I haven't had a breakthrough a fence problem yet, to be honest with you. I'm looking really forward to seeing the cattle up on green pasture. It's a beautiful sight every year, the beginning of it. And then, of course, tomorrow, planting. We'll go from there. We obviously will do a showcase on my seed that I am using. I do plan on making this year a very heavy year in sorghum updates. Basically, this field of sorghum means a lot to me this year, so I will be checking it regularly, and of course I'll just go ahead and take you with me. Maybe we'll set some measuring sticks out and do weekly growth reports or something like that, and we'll keep a fine line here on this sorghum this year. I'm really looking forward to it. You know, I keep saying it, you know, I ventured into that hybrid BMR, which comes from Alpharex. It's their Forage King variety. I ventured into that last year. But you can't judge last year on a proper feed, intake, harvest, whatever you want to call it, because of the crap year that we had with weather. It was awful. 4 weeks of drought followed by 4 or 5 weeks of nonstop rain. Good luck. If I get a little cooperation, I've already done my job, with the exception of planting it. Little cooperation from weather, and yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. So anyway, beautiful day up here in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, folks. It is Memorial Day weekend. There's a lot going on around here. Things are starting to open up just a little bit. I don't really want to start talking about that. And we'll see what happens. I might end up having a good old Sunday fun day here this weekend. We'll see. We'll see how tomorrow goes. But I got to finish this up, and it's time to go get a sandwich. And folks, we're going to talk to you sooner and later.